What up, guys? Story time. Something happened to me recently, and it was on the forefront of my mind, so I just thought that I would share it. And I'm obviously on the way to somewhere, so you'll need to bear with me while I'm not staring into your lovely eyes while I tell you this story. So, yesterday I got handed a lead. I'm not going to name any names or anything. It's not really relevant to the essence of the story anyway. I got handed a lead because this particular individual encountered someone who has some properties that they need to sell. And they're on with an agent. The market's not great at the moment for selling. The agent overpromised and underdelivered regarding price. And now this gentleman is on the market, it's not shifting, and he's looking for someone to come along and provide some kind of a solution so that he can sell his properties. And this particular individual passed me this lead because they didn't really know exactly how to deal with the problem that was before them. And that was nothing to do with this individual's knowledge or expertise or competence or anything of the sort. It was simply because they did not qualify. And qualification, which I'll explain in just a minute, is something that as a former sales professional and also a current sales professional, that's something that you have to do all the time. It's like the cornerstone of all persuasion, deal making, anything like that. And qualification is it's learning about what the situation actually is with a certain individual. So if you're a buyer, I want to know, what is your position exactly? So what's the problem? Is it the fact that there's is there a pain point you've got right now that you're hoping to solve? Are you in pain of some kind? And if so, what kind of pain is it, right? And do you necessarily need it solved? Or is that even the exact problem, or is it something else that's really adjacent to it? There's also, how quickly do you need something done? Is this a problem that needs solving immediately, or is it something where you need to wait it out a little bit? What sort of price point, what sort of capital do you have available to solve the problem? Like depending on what level of intervention you may want or need, all this kind of stuff. So you need to learn about what the situation actually is before you can offer a solution, which sounds really obvious on the face of it, but it's amazing how people who don't have a sales background don't really tend to do this. And it's precisely how I was able to take on this lead. I was able to call them, have a conversation, and find out about what was their specific pain points and what kind of solution could I offer them exactly so that we could alleviate this problem. What did they need? But not just what do they need, why? Why do they need it? That is probably more important than the what, to be honest. And I was able to have that conversation, and now we're going to potentially organise a small portfolio buy-to-let SA purchase. So that way we can take off all the properties that he's got off his hands in one transaction, and then that solves the problem. It gives him the cash that he needs so that he can get on and do the things that he wants to do, which I learned about by qualifying him. And it's a skill that is really, really worth getting good at. Being able to speak to people and learn about who is the decision maker, right? Whose name is actually on the properties that he's trying to sell? Is it just him? Is it only his decision to make? Or are there other people involved as well? Like, what is it that he wants to do? Does he want to sell the properties? And if he wants to sell them, why does he want to sell them? Why wouldn't he just let them out in a different form to how he's already letting them out? Has he considered this way? Has he considered that way? What's the timeline on this? Does he need it to happen soon, or does he, or is he able to wait it out? Because that might dictate whether, like, if does the property need some kind of renovation? Because does he have the time to do a renovation? and all this sort of stuff. And that would affect maybe whether you would offer him a lease option agreement or whether you might offer him something different, whether you might offer him an assisted sale, all this kind of stuff. Because we as investors, we've got all these tools in our toolbox: lease option agreements, assisted sales, vendor finance, HMO, serviced accommodation, emergency accommodation, you name it, we've got it, right? We're well equipped, we learn about all these different things. But the fact of the matter is, they're different tools for different jobs, obviously, right? You can't solve every problem in construction with a hammer, right? You've got to figure out what is the problem, and you need to use the right tool for the job, okay? If you've got, you know, I don't know, if you've got like really rubbish sealant around what is otherwise a perfectly good bathroom suite, you're not going to solve that with a hammer, right? You need silicone. You know, you need to be able to rip off the old stuff and re-silicone the new stuff and reseal it nicely and neatly, right? In the same way, you can't solve everything with a lease option. You can't solve everything, even with a below market value purchase. You know, to give these people the cash now, that might not be the best solution for them. But in order to know, you have to qualify them first. You have to get good at learning how to learn about someone's situation, you know, and I can talk more about that maybe in another video, but I guess this was just a little story, a little tidbit of recent that I wanted to share with you guys, because that was the difference between me being able to take on a lead and potentially make a deal versus letting it go by the wayside. Now the opportunity just disappears. It's the difference between having to pass a lead on because you don't know what to do with it versus actually you had the tools to fix the problem all along. You just didn't ask enough questions to learn enough about what's going on to realize, oh wait, no, I could just offer this person X or Y or Z. So make sure that you learn how to qualify, guys. If you want to learn more about that, you know, I've got 9 years of sales experience, and also, you know, 4 of those was in property as well, specifically. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions. Just wanted to share a quick story because it illustrates the importance of being able to qualify. Speak to you guys soon.